France is a country that attracts many people's attention. Its incredible history, its countless museums, its grand avenues, the charm of its streets, the warmth of its people. All this has made it the most visited country in the world by its own merits. However, the country of Victor Hugo, palaces, and wine hides many secrets and has many details that might surprise those who are not very familiar with the culture or situation of the country. That's why we will tell you some amazing facts about this country. Let's start. 1. The French sleep on average 9 hours a day, the highest average of all European Union and developed countries. 2. In France, it is completely legal to marry a dead person as long as there is proof that the deceased wanted to marry before he or she died. Furthermore, there must be an authorization from the president of the country. The most recent case is that of a woman who married a policeman who had died in the line of duty in Paris. 3. Potatoes were also illegal in France between 1748 and 1772, as it was believed to be one of the main causes of leprosy, a disease that was increasing in France between 1748 and 1772. 4. In keeping with the theme of laws, it is illegal in France to name a pig Napoleon. I wonder why. 5. Monarch Jean I of France was crowned before he was even born. However, he died just 5 days after his birth, making him one of the shortest-lived kings ever. 6. Louis XIX, however, is the one who takes the gold medal. His reign lasted an incredible 20 minutes in power. 7. The famous Palace of Versailles, created by Louis XIV of France to showcase his incredible power and the prosperity of his kingdom, was open to the public during his reign, so that any citizen could admire its beauty. It also allowed visitors to request royal audiences. For this reason, he was known as the King of the People. 8. Speaking of Versailles, the gardens of this palace are almost 8 million square meters in size. It has been a World Heritage Site since 1970, and every year more than 200,000 flowers and 200,000 trees are planted in these gardens. Unbelievable. 9. The oldest stone bridge in Paris is called Pont Neuf, or the New Bridge. Ironical, isn't it? 10. The pyramid where the famous Louvre Museum is located has exactly the same proportions as the Pyramid of Cheops in Egypt. 11. The Disneyland Paris amusement park has more than twice as many annual visitors as the Eiffel Tower, even though the latter is known as the symbol of Paris. 12. The Paris Metro is full of stations with incredible design and artistic flair. One of the highlights is the Arts and Métiers station, boasting a rather peculiar submarine design and certainly worth a visit. 13. The busiest station in all of Europe is the Gare du Nord in Paris, with some 190 million passengers passing through each year. 14. During World War II, many Jews were saved from being trapped by the Germans because the Paris Mosque gave false Muslim identities to anyone who needed them. 15. During the same period, the Austrian painter and German leader visited the city. The French cut the cables to the lifts of the Eiffel Tower, so that if he wanted to go to the top of the tower, he would have to walk to the top. Geniuses. 16. Speaking of the mustache guy, shortly before Paris was liberated from his hands, he ordered the destruction of much of its historical heritage and major monuments as an act of rancor. Fortunately, and thanks to General Dietrich von Choltitz's decision to ignore the order, we can still enjoy the art of the city today. 17. The Parisian neighborhood of Montmartre was not the same a few centuries ago. At the beginning of the 20th century, it was a dangerous slum full of shantytowns and with high homicide and crime rates of all kinds. All this has changed a lot, although it is still not advisable to walk the streets alone late at night. 18. After the death of the famous novelist Victor Hugo, the country held a huge state funeral for him, amassing the largest crowd of people ever gathered in France in its entire history. Unbelievable. 19. Here's a negative point. France is one of the most nuclear-dependent countries in the world. 78% of its electricity is generated from this energy source. I'm not going to talk about pros and cons of this kind of energy now, but depending on just one source may be really problematic, as we have seen these days. It may sound hard to believe, but in France there are still kings. Well, not in mainland France, but in some of its overseas regions. The state pays monarchs to exercise authority over the territories of Wallis and Futuna in the Pacific Ocean. 21. The French army still uses carrier pigeons. It is the only European army still using this system. 22. Approximately 500 million snails are consumed in France every year, and they are considered quite a delicacy. Would you try this? 23. Every town in France has a street named Victor Hugo. It's clear how much they love him. 24. When the Normans won the Battle of Hastings in 1066, they settled in England, and with them French as the official language of government. This lasted for more than 300 years. 25. In France, there is a road that can only be driven on for a certain number of hours a day, as the rest of the time it remains underwater. Often the road is flooded even during the hours of traffic, so there are several safe areas where people who are trapped can stay until they are able to get out of the water. Well, that's it for this video. Which of these facts did you find most interesting? How many of them did you not know? Leave it down here in the comments. Also, if you want more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You can also turn on the little bell to find out when I upload more videos, and leave a like to let us know what kind of videos you like. Thank you very much for watching the video to the end, and I hope that you found it very interesting. See you soon.